St Kilda's future. Can he level the scores? Of course he can!
Away we go. Marshall, Wanganeen, Miller for the greatest comeback in the history of VFL, AFL football. What?
And Wanganeen Miller, 2 votes. Melbourne, Jay Viney, 3 votes. North Melbourne, Geelong.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
7 for the Blues, 7 individual goal scorers. Seconds will tick by, the ball will bounce, the run is on, the ball sits, it's off, it's through, it is a goal! Seth Campbell, bang, bang, bang!
The Gold Coast Suns are going to hold on for a memorable win, baby. Just maybe their time is now.
What started off as a test to see who would like it, this has now become an annual tradition. Welcome to my 9th AFL Grand Final preview. Yet another year passes in an era that's felt like it's been moving in fast forward mode since 2020. This year's Grand Finalists are Geelong and Brisbane, the 2022 Premiership winners and the team that has reached its 3rd Grand Final in a row, losing one by under a goal and convincingly winning the next. Is it the Lions' time again, or are Geelong the team to beat? We'll find out this week. Interestingly enough, these two clubs have never met in a grand final, but they have met in 4 prelims, winning 2 each, and of course a few weeks ago in the qualifying final where Geelong beat Brisbane. But how did they get here? Geelong started the season with a statement win over Fremantle, while Brisbane narrowly beat Sydney in a grand final rematch. In round 2, the Lions beat the Eagles, while the Cats were held off by St Kilda. And then they met in round 3, with Brisbane narrowly winning by 9. In 3 of their next 4 games, the Lions played away and scored exactly 118 points, beating the Tigers, the Dogs and the Saints. But in the other game, they were battered by the Magpies. They beat Gold Coast, but somehow drew with North Melbourne of all teams, followed by a loss to struggling Melbourne. Was their golden run over? Could they really win the Premiership playing like this? Well, they didn't really look that convincing last year either, until the semi-final, and look how that ended. All they ever need is a spark. They know when to turn it on. Could they do it this season again? Wins over Hawthorn and Essendon were followed by big tests against Adelaide and GWS. They lost both. Was their season doomed? Where was the spark they needed? They needed to prove themselves against strong opposition. Enter the mighty Geelong. Since the Cats' round 3 loss, they comfortably beat Melbourne and beat the Crows in a high-scoring thriller in Gabba round. They followed this up with an Easter Monday win against Hawthorn. Then came 2 losses in 3 games to Carlton and GWS, with a thrilling win over Collingwood in between. They humiliated Port Adelaide and won another high-scoring thriller against the Bulldogs. West Coast? Defeated, of course. Gold Coast? No problem. Essendon? Obliterated, and in round 15 it was time for Brisbane to play Geelong once again. The Lions delivered, and oh boy did they deliver. This was perhaps their most impressive victory all season, with their first win at the GMHBA in over 2 decades, winning by a resounding 41 points. They found that spark. They answered the questions about being a contender. This time it was Geelong who needed to provide the answers. After a bye round, they beat Richmond but lost again to the Giants. St Kilda? Defeated. North Melbourne? Defeated. Port Adelaide? Too easy. Essendon? Defeated. Sydney? Defeated. Richmond? Defeated. High-scoring wins and a strong finish to the season. They were ready for finals in 2nd place, only losing out in the Premiership to a dominant Crows team. After Brisbane's bye round after playing Geelong, they beat Port Adelaide. Carlton? Defeated. Western Bulldogs? Defeated. Gold Coast? Yeah, they were a bit of a problem this season, weren't they? Yeah, pretty good team. I mean, just ask Freo. Brisbane were on the receiving end of a Gold Coast battering. In response to that defeat, they passed another test, smashing Collingwood at the MCG. However, they did narrowly lose to Sydney before winning a close one against the Hawks, with a mighty win over Fremantle in between. Perhaps these last few games showed their vulnerabilities, but nevertheless they finished the season in a strong position. After a 3rd place finish, it was time for them to meet Geelong once again for the 3rd time this season, after beating them twice, but this time it was a different story.
But there it is, the Geelong Football Club march into their 14th prelim in 19 years. It's extraordinary.
Elsewhere, the Crows fell to Collingwood's sword, while Gold Coast in their first ever finals game shocked Freo, and Hawthorn beat GWS away. The Hawks proceeded to eliminate Adelaide in the semi-final, setting up a prelim with rivals Geelong. Enter Patrick Dangerfield.
Tough for Jaff. There goes Dangerfield again. Manner. Beautiful handball for Danger. This is one for the ages. Unbelievable. After a scare early, the Cats have steamrolled into a 20th grand final.
With their loss to Geelong, Brisbane's road was tougher. But just like last year, the Lions awaken again in the second half of the semi-final. After smashing Gold Coast, they proved many doubters wrong with a magnificent win over Collingwood. This used to be a team that couldn't perform at the MCG, but now look at them. And now we have our two grand finalists. Two teams, two recent champions. Will it be the great Geelong, who have been in the top two most of the season, or will it be big game Brisbane, who know when to turn it on? 100,000 fans will be seated to see the spectacle in person, but will the game itself be a spectacle, or will there be another blowout yet again? Two teams, one winner. Who wins? We find out on Saturday.